The cantilever-type supports were erected at the rear of the battery position. These support the upper fixed chicken wire screen and the rear edge of the movable fish net over the gun. This is one of the 30 large supports in position. All members of the school assisted in making forms for the concrete work required. The usual surveying methods were used in laying out the project. The net supports were attached to the existing concrete work wherever possible, and concrete bases were provided when necessary. After 6 weeks, the job was completed as far as had been contemplated in the short time allowed for the school. Fixed nets were placed to break shadows in the rear of the emplacements. Some wood supports were used for the lighter nets. All supports were securely guyed to withstand the wind. The garnishing cast an excellent shadow pattern within the emplacements and effectively destroyed the characteristic appearance of the portions concealed. A dummy roof was constructed on one building to resemble a residential roof. An observation post was provided in a dummy chimney. Various methods of garnishing were used to determine the relative merits of several patterns. As far as could be judged, the patterns gave approximately equal effectiveness. The movable net over the gun was supported on parallel steel cables at about 5-foot spacing. The fixed screens were made of chicken wire with suitable garnishing and supports. Side nets were used when required to break shadows which otherwise would be visible from oblique angles of view. 8 men and 1 non-commissioned officer are able to roll back the movable net. The front edge of the net is attached to a length of pipe, which is used as a roller. The ends of the pipe are provided with cranks to assist in rolling back the movable net. Normally, the net will be high enough so that it will clear the gun sight. When fully rolled back, the net rests upon the cantilever pipe supports and is clear of the gun. The supporting cables are removed by releasing the pipe frame and unhooking the turnbuckles. The pipe frame is then laid down, and the cables are carried around the sides of the emplacement. The gun can be cleared for action in about 3 minutes. Steel wool and chicken wire blast mats were prepared to conceal the mark on the ground caused by the muzzle blast. Individual buildings were treated in accordance with a preconceived plan. A dummy road was carried across the emplacement on a light bridge. This road was surfaced with chipped stone, the same as used on the surface of the adjacent roads. The framework of the bridge was strong enough for stability. It is not intended to be a load-carrying bridge. The structure, however, is strong enough to walk on safely. The buildings on the post were made to resemble dwellings by dummy dormer windows and by shadow painting. This gave each barracks building the appearance of 2 separate houses. The ends of the barracks were painted different colors. Even from the ground, the effect is very striking. Dummy buildings were built of sturdy wood construction to withstand gun blasts and high winds. The roofs of the dummy buildings are weather-tight, so they could be used for storage purposes. All permanent concrete works on the post were toned down using standard Corps of Engineers camouflage paint. After camouflage, the one gun concealed provides a striking contrast with the two guns over which the concealing nets were not placed. The completion of the project will require a long-range planting program to complete the illusion of a residential development covering the whole of the peninsula. However, the work which was done has greatly reduced the characteristic appearance of a coast defense battery. The buildings now resemble separate houses rather than barracks. An experiment was made using strips of Osnaburg laid on the ground and painted to simulate sidewalks. This experiment indicates that much care must be taken in the construction of dummy roads and paths. The soil must be graded and the material applied very smoothly to simulate the geometric pattern characteristic of normal construction. This camouflage project provided valuable training for 53 officers and men and provided the camouflage section of the engineer board with much valuable data on camouflage techniques and materials.